Imagine saying that to your missus. Say Beetlejuice 3 times and something will appear. Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Drama, Just Movies. We are back this week with another review. This time we are reviewing none other than Beetlejuice. Say his name 3 times and apparently he will appear. I was thinking, imagine saying that to your missus. Say Beetlejuice 3 times and something will appear. However, to be serious, we are here to review Beetlejuice, directed by the GOAT, none other than Tim Burton. My name is Cameron Kelly Smith. I am joined by my esteemed colleague,
Bill.
Come on. Beetlejuice felt it all the way in the afterlife. That's right. Oh, yes, he did. So, to give a little bit of context, I never saw the original Beetlejuice, which is a crime, apparently. You have seen the original Beetlejuice, right?
Several times, yeah, a couple of times.
Okay, perfect. So, I've heard it's really good. So, I mean, let's just delve straight into it. Initial thoughts. What was your initial... In fact, do you mind if I go first this time?
Oh, yeah, go.
Okay, so to me, I just want to get this out. And I said this to you. To me, Beetlejuice, or Beetlejuice 2, whatever you prefer. To me, this felt like I was at an amusement park, in all honesty. It felt like I went to... For those who live in the UK, I went to Thorpe Park. I did multiple rides. I did the horror rides. I did the roller coaster rides. And I was with the clowns and the bunnies. And it was Halloween and we were having a great time. This is how it felt to me. It felt like I was just here at an amusement park in like an immersive horror experience or horror comedy experience in that classic visual Tim Burton style, at least for these kind of movies. And I think that for that, it's fun. Like, I honestly do think that it's fun. I think that you can go in here and you can enjoy yourself. Like, I think it's hard to hate the experience you have with this movie. But if you're looking for a movie that delves into the depths of the human soul and the pain we feel as people, it's not that. And, I don't know if Beetlejuice ever was that. You know more than me. But I think that if you're looking for a fun adventure and time at the movies, I think you're going to get one. What say you?
I wanted to like this. I wanted to like this one because I really enjoyed the original one has a place in my heart. Somewhere with all the other gothic Tim Burton stuff, like the original Batman. And just that combination as well, like Michael Keaton, Tim Burton, that world again. I really wanted to like it, but unfortunately I didn't as much. I guess to go off your like amusement park image, because we're painting with words here. It was like rides, but it was like you're on a ride and then someone shoves you onto the next ride. And you're like, can I like finish this one first? And I was like, no, you're on this one now. And as you're going down that one, someone grabs you and puts you on another ride. And at some point, the rides just end. And you're like, well, that was quick. I don't know what happened here. So to bring it back to the actual film, it felt like there were a lot of strands, a lot of like plot strands to deal with. We had the kidnapping of the daughter who goes off with the dead boy. We had the mother, like the older mother, I guess, or grandmother, looking for her husband.
Delia.
Yes, Delia, looking for her husband, her dead husband. We had the estranged mother and daughter with Lydia and Astrid, and their whole thing about their Astrid's dad dying or being dead. There was a lot of, and then Beetlejuice's ex-wife coming back as well to like seek revenge or something. There was just so much going on, and everything was very quick, and it's like bits of this, bits of that, and everything resolved very quickly as well. which was not very satisfactory. So I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I wanted to, and I'd hoped I would. There were still great things in there, and we'll probably get into the better bits, but yeah, like overall, no.
Yeah, I think to delve even into the better bits immediately, right?
Hmm.
You know, I'm gonna continue with this amusement park analogy because it seems like we're onto
Yeah,
something here.
we're in it now.
Um, exactly. You know, if you are, this is like you're going to the amusement park and you're going for the main attraction, right? Whether that main attraction be the newest ride in town, the best ride in town, or a circus act, you know, whatever it may be. Beetlejuice himself, played by Michael Keaton, excuse me, is the main attraction, right? That's
Oh,
the reason why you're going to watch the movie. Well, at least I believe that's the reason why you're going to watch the movie, right? Especially for someone who hadn't seen the first one, you know, you see the look of him, you know, how Beetlejuice appears, especially as someone who hasn't seen the first one. And, you know, to me, that's the attraction, you know, this guy seems to be the attraction. And he still kind of is. I feel like in the build up to when you see him in this movie and your introduction to him in this movie, and anytime you see him on camera, there is an electricity that comes with him, there is a charisma that comes with him, there is an element of fun that comes with him. However, you don't really get the idea that the character really has anything that much to do. And I
yeah,
think that's the thing. I kind of see what you mean, where it feels like there's multiple things going on in this movie. I think that if Tim Burton approached this with the idea that at its core, this movie is about a mother and daughter trying to fix their fractured relationship, and trying to just stick with that, and try more ways to just explore that, then I think we could have been onto a winner here. But as you said, I feel like there's multiple things going on at once, especially, you know, once again, because I haven't seen the first movie, I don't know how it was done then. But you mentioned, for example, like Beetlejuice himself. Like the only reason why Beetlejuice is essentially in this movie, really and truly, is to help Lydia get Astrid back from the afterlife.
mm,
However, that side plot, which not that one, but the side plot in terms of his ex-wife, Beetlejuice's ex-wife, coming back from the dead and trying to haunt him and be together with him forever. Like she is presented from the beginning of the movie as this is the plot. The plot is her coming back to wreak havoc and get him back, but it's not the plot. And I wonder why it was even there. Like, could you
mm.
maybe have just made, you know, the guy that Jenna Ortega's character Astrid, you know, kind of starts to take a liking to, and he kind of swindles her. Maybe him alone could have been the villain, you know. And so it's kind of
Yeah.
confusing as to what was the reason for all of these moving parts and how it got so kind of muddled. Um, yeah, what say you?
Yeah, I would have loved a film that was literally focused on any of those, but I think the if you want to continue with the same characters from the first one, kind of a legacy sequel, I guess, to have Lydia, who's now grown up, she's a mother, and who's in touch with this like ghost world, um, and then have her daughter like kidnapped or taken to the underworld, and then she needs to go and rescue her, and either Beetlejuice is in her way, but I guess like the better option might be Beetlejuice helping her. She needs to conjure up Beetlejuice. We said it so much that now he must have he would have come back
Oh,
many times.
he's here.
Um, but yeah, she conjures up Beetlejuice and he helps her get into the underworld, as they kind of do in the film, and helps her find her daughter again. But just to spend enough time to give that more space to develop, because the way they do it, it's literally like resolved like that with a passport stamping. And Beetlejuice is already there and he solves the problem for them within like a minute. Um, so I feel like just focus on one, and that might be the more interesting story here.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think the sad thing about it as well is that a lot of the different stories that are happening throughout the movie and the different relationships that are going on throughout the film, as you said, whether it be Delia and her ex-husband, or Lydia and her soon-to-be husband, the little thing that's going on there, or Astrid and the guy that she meets, or Astrid and Lydia, or Beetlejuice and the ex-wife, or like there is if all of those relationships and those plot points and story points do get your attention and they are interesting, because you do believe it. Like this is a well performed movie, I will say.
Yeah,
And
definitely. Yeah.
very well performed, and you do buy into these relationships, and you buy into this idea of where these plot points are going to go. Like, for example, a great example is when we find out, that Astrid's, I'm just gonna call him, treehouse boyfriend. I can't remember
Yeah.
the character's actual name, but if we
There
call
it
him the
is.
treehouse
But
boyfriend.
that
But yeah, like, for example, like the idea that she meets him and then he reveals that he's the ghost, and then we find out the backstory that not only was he a ghost, but he was a serial killer. Well, kind of. He
Well,
murdered his
killed his
parents.
parents. Yeah.
Yeah, he killed his parents, and then when the police came to get him, he committed suicide. Like, obviously, the way I'm describing it sounds more grittier than how it's presented, because this is a horror comedy. But that when that happened, I was like, ooh, this is interesting, especially as someone who's a big crime fan. I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. Like, this is starting to get a bit dark, a bit gritty. How is this gonna fare with this guy now who is a murderer, now trying to now swap bodies with her, or not swap bodies with her, but kind of take her place in the land of the living, and her take his place in the land of the dead. But even by the time we do go to the afterworld with them, I never really felt the huge stakes of that happening. It didn't feel as gritty or as scary as I felt like it could have, especially with the idea that you have this guy that was a murderer. And yeah, and that kind of, as you said, that gets resolved very quickly. It was very easy for it to get resolved. But it's just an example of one of the storylines and relationships where it starts off incredibly promising, and you're like, this looks really interesting, but it just doesn't do really anything not to say it doesn't do anything worthwhile, but it feels incredibly rushed. It definitely feels like, as you said, we started the roller coaster ride, and then unfortunately it's evacuation time. And that's kind of how it feels. But onto the note of performances, great performances all around. Michael Keaton, truly the GOAT. Like, incredible performance.
On that note, I would say the Beetlejuice in the original one, I felt was a little bit more energetic. There was a lot more like frantic energy about him in the original film. That might simply be because Michael Keaton is not as young anymore.
We'll get on.
We all get older. But I think he's still like had that. He looked good, first of all. Like, the makeup is still like fantastic and iconic. And I recently found out like that was his idea as well, like the moss, the green stuff. So yeah, that performance, even Willem Dafoe, like, always welcome. Even though I didn't like his character a lot. I don't know what the point of him was. But I really liked his performance. Like, he got to show a little bit more comedy, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Then like Catherine O'Hara as Delia, I think in the first one, in the original one, I didn't really appreciate her as much. But like, just her comedic chops, sorry. And this one were quite fun as well. And yeah, even Justin Theroux as Rory, Lydia's, I guess, manager. And
manager
boyfriend, or like, yeah. Even I loved his character, and like the way he played it, very slimy. And so yeah, I really like the performances and the actors.
Yeah, I mean, even like one shout out for me in terms of performances, I can't lie to you, bro. I loved William Dafoe's character. Like, did his character really have any kind of real significance to the plot? or did it feel like really he wanted anything specifically? No. However, to me, his character was cool. And the thing is, right, that's the thing that you can always say, right? Even if a character necessarily doesn't have a significant impact on the plot, if a character is cool, you'll love him. And I felt like he was cool. He was fun to me, like this James Bond actor kind of guy turned criminal detective. Like, to me, he was funny as well. Like that scene where he does come to like gravesite and is about to enter, well, just enters from the afterlife where he's about to infiltrate into the church, and he does a little quick roly poly duck and roll. Like it was just funny to me. I
Yeah.
felt like his character was cool, and Willem Dafoe played it really well. Obviously, Jenna Ortega does her thing. Um, you know, like it's not like it's like an incredible like even character. I felt like it's not like it's that much of an interesting character, but she does her thing. And so I think the one question I want to ask you before we eventually wrap up is this movie ends in a way where it very much leaves the door open for a third movie. And if you have Beetlejuice and then you have Beetlejuice, you kind of now have to have Beetlejuice. And so obviously this movie is doing incredibly well thus far, had a really big opening weekend domestically. Third biggest or second or third, I think it's the second biggest opening in the history of at least September. And so doing really well. I think a third movie is probably likely, but would you want one?
No, I think I now want to say they should have left it at the first one. Unless they have a really good story to tell. But it just needs a better writer. I think. Or like a better story, let's say that, because I don't know, like obviously we never know who's involved in the story and like how many cooks are in that kitchen. But yeah, it just needs a better story. But right now, after watching this, I would say just leave it. Let the ghost rest. And we have two at least. But
Okay, yeah,
you
I'm open. I am open. Obviously I'm gonna watch the first one. I did enjoy this second one. I do think that it is a fun movie. It may sound like we're like completely crapping all over the film, but I do think you can have fun with this. I feel like it does have a nice flair to it, and it is enjoyable. Like I do, and I would recommend it. I think that it is. It's only an hour 45 minutes, and that's with credits. It's a fun time at the movies, I think, and I would recommend watching it. And I would be open for a third movie. I feel like it's a kind of world where that's the thing as well. Like the final thing I'll mention in relation to why I'd want a third movie is the world. The
yeah.
world is an addictive world to be in, and it is a fun world to be in. I love the Soul Train, little elements of it. I read those were just fun. Like it's it's an amusement park, bro. Like it's a fun world to be in, and I think that, as you said, though, it's always down to the story. But I think that if you're gonna have two, I think a third one, I'll be up for a third one. I would be up for a third one. I would. I mean, any final thoughts before we deliver our review scores?
Yeah, like with the stuff I liked, I was glad to see Tim Burton back with like the visuals. Like the visuals were awesome. When you've got those hallways with the weird angle thing, like the chessboard floor.
Yeah.
And some of the effects as well. I couldn't quite decide whether they were like practical effects. I'm sure some of it was. But that looked really cool as well. Like it
Really good.
wasn't, I like that it wasn't perfect. Like it looked a bit stop motion at some time, at some points. Again, whether it was or not, like when the all the people in the church get their faces sucked into their phones, that reminded me very much of like from the original when the Maitlands, the couple, like try out their scary things and they pull their faces, their faces long and all that with practical effects. It reminded me a lot of that, and it was like just nice to see whether it was practical or not. It just looked like made. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with you, man. From a set design, from a costume
Mm.
design, VFX, SFX, like, yeah, this movie's the bomb. In those departments, it's really
Yeah.
unique. And I think that does blend into that, like, this world. That's why I would be willing to go back there. And they should even do a Beetlejuice experience. You know, I'm sure, obviously, Warner Brothers, I don't think own any parks or lands, but I could be wrong. But they should definitely do a Beetlejuice experience. I would be up for that. I definitely would be. I mean, if I'm being honest with you. But that will be it, I guess, for our review of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. So we have a
And three
new
ICs.
reviewing system here on our channel, which is a IC review system. So instead of giving, for example, a 6 out of 10, we instead give it a 6 ICs out of 10, or plushies, or ice blast, tango ice blast, whatever you refer to it, depending on where you are based. So, Bill, out of 10, how many ICs would you give Beetlejuice Beetlejuice?
This is hard because, like I said, I really wanted to like it. And there are parts, and Tim Burton is still like one of my favorite directors. But it's gonna have to be a 6, I think. And that is a kind of a kind 6, because like I did find myself
Feels
getting
like it.
bored
Mm.
at some points, but then there's like really good parts as well. Like we said, the acting, the set design, and the just the world, like you said as well. So I'll go with 6 ICs out of 10.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go one above. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna be generous today. I'm gonna go with 7 ICs out of 10.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go 7 ICs out of 10, even though it does feel a little bit high. I think it's probably more of a 6.5 ICs out of 10. I'm gonna go with 6.5 ICs out of
Yeah,
10, actually. I
we'll
won't
land
be
on
too generous.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5 ICs out of 10, simply because I do enjoy the world. Visually, I thought it was an experience, and I did enjoy myself. It doesn't feel like it overstays its welcome either. However, yeah, from a plot perspective and storyline perspective, it does really lack. But 6.5 out of 10 is where I'm going.
Okay.
6 well, no, not 6.6 out of 10 ICs is where you're going. 6.5 ICs out of 10 is where I'm going. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for our review of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Once again, we are No Drama, Just Movies. We release weekly movie reviews, whether it be modern day releases, current movie releases in the world of cinema, or cult classics. And we are currently doing a rewatch of the Spider-Man movies, everything from Sam Raimi's to Mark Webb's to the current New Homecoming trilogy. So the link for those will be down below. If you do like our videos, please comment, subscribe. That will really help us out. We love making this content. We love talking to people about this content. And so the more, the merrier. Once again, my name is Cameron Kelly Smith, and I am joined by...
Bell.
Oh, Beetlejuice.
Little spooky.
Beetlejuice. Come on, man. Come on. Well, that'll be it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into our review. Once again, don't say his name 3 times or something will appear. Thank you very much, guys, for checking out our review, and we will see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.